Okay. So Bulma Lab, we're supposed to create a React app that has the following things. A navbar component that looks like this, and we're going to use Bulma to make that happen. Then a form field component that if we put two of them, one on top of the other, we would get this. So we want a form field component that we get to pass in 3 props, and those 3 props determine the text that's right here, the text that's in here, and the type of input that the thing is. And then we want a cool button component where if you pass in these props, such as is small camel case, then the button will get a class like is dash small. So we have to figure out, that's probably the hardest one of the 3, which is why it's iteration 3. And then, yeah, we're not going to do the bonus or anything like that. So anyway, I'm going to create a React app. Create React app. And if you call it Bulma, you're going to have a problem when you try to install Bulma. So I'm not going to call it Bulma. I'm going to call it Lab Bulma Review. And so to install Bulma, it's pretty easy. Once that thing gets created, we're just going to run npm install Bulma, and then we just got to put this line right here in our index.js, and then we'll have all these classes, and then magically, at that point, if we add the class of, for example, like these classes, control or label, that'll give it some styling. Let's take a look at the code for the transparent navbar that we're going to copy. And it's this thing right here. And I'm going to copy all this stuff. You can just actually click copy. But I have to remember to go through and then find all the times where it says class, change it to class name because that's for React. And then also if there's an image in here or an input or any other self-closing tag, we got to make sure that it actually has the little slash on it. I don't actually see any of them right here. So maybe we're okay, but we'll find out when I paste it in there, because if I forget any of them, the whole app will explode. Wow, that really takes a long time. I guess if you want to look cool at Starbucks, create React app and hit enter, and then all this stuff is going to happen for like 10 minutes. Anyone behind you is going to be like, whoa, look at that person. Okay. And I'm also going to run this thing. I guess I'll open it in another tab. Lab. Okay, the default stuff, fancy logo spinning around. Let's see it. Come on. Okay, fancy. Oh, they changed it. Look, it's different. It's updated. It's not spinning. Huh, interesting. Anyway. So, I'm going to get rid of that anyway. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all that stuff. This is my app component. Delete all the stuff, but don't delete the outer div, because if you delete the outer div, then it's going to give you an error. Hello. Okay, there it is. So first things first, I'm going to create a navbar component, and then I'm going to put that navbar component in here in app.js. So in source, I'm going to create a folder for components, and in here, new file, call it navbar.js. And in here, import, import React from React, class navbar extends React.component. And just to test it, at first, we're going to just have a render function. And in the render function, just have a return. And in the return, just have a div and say, this is navbar. So then in here, you can get rid of this line. We're not going to use that logo. In here, I'm going to import navbar from ./component/navbar. Also, I'm going to change my app to, well, I guess I don't need to, do I? Never mind, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, here, navbar, put the little navbar tag. And then let's see it. What we should get is it should say this is navbar, and then underneath that it should say hello. So cool, we got the navbar component, very fancy component, and then we have the rest of our app component, which is also equally fancy. So I'm gonna get rid of the hello thing because that's obviously not what we want to actually have on the page. And I'm gonna leave this because that is what we want to have on the page, but I'm gonna change this because this is not what we want the navbar to look like. So I'm going to paste in, I think I have it still copied maybe, all the code for navbar. There it is, okay. And then find what? Why does it have so many errors? Oh, there's an HR? Okay, that's why, okay. Let's fix that first. There it is, HR. This is the lethal. I'm sure they put that in there on purpose to try to make you find that and have you experience this error, because this is a common React error, because like this is not an error in HTML, but in JSX it is an error, and you need that little thing, and all those red lines go away, and wow, that's amazing. Okay. So it's not just input and image. Here's also, we need this image tag. Input and image are the classic examples of the self-closing thing, but also HR and BR and I don't know. I'm sure there are others that I can't think of right now. Anyway, the other thing we should do is it's not going to explode anymore. So like now it looks like that. But if you open the console, it says this. In my experience, it doesn't like ruin it, but I don't know. I hate seeing errors in the console anyway. So find class equals. Find a unique thing like class equals, highlight it, and then Command D will highlight the next subsequent match. And that works on pretty much all the text editors, like VS Code, Sublime Text, Atom. What? I don't know. I've never used that one, but it works on like REPL.it a lot. Like if you use like a online editor too. Okay, so we got rid of the errors, but my bulma thing doesn't look like anything, and that's because I haven't installed bulma or imported the bulma package. So I'm gonna go in here. npm. Am I in the thing? Yeah, I am. npm install bulma. Okay. Now in here, you just got to import that in index.js. Where is index.js? There it is. Where's the line? I'll copy it from the notes here. Okay, now magically my nav bar will look completely different. There. Cool. Only thing that doesn't work is these two things. I don't have these. That doesn't seem to work. Let's see what's up with that. It's a span, and in the span, it's this I tag, and the I has a class of fob and fa Twitter. The fa thing is font awesome, so that only works if you have font awesome installed. So let's get that. What's the easiest way to do that? Probably just to get the font awesome CDN and put it in our HTML file, our index HTML file. In public HTML, index HTML, put a link. Oh no, after, just at the end of the head. Link, href, this. I think that should work. Yeah, not really. I think I actually know that FOB, F-A-B, is like a premium package, and FA is a non-premium package. So if we just go and change it to FA Twitter, then it works. And I don't know why I know that, but it's come up before. So change FOB to FA. Is that it? Where's the download one? Oh, also FAS is also like a premium package. There we go. FAS, FOB and FAS both changed to just FA, and then it works. Okay, so that's pretty much iteration 1. We're not supposed to make those things do anything when you click them or anything, so we're done. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here. So now iteration 2, real React thing. Make a form field that when we, again, a lot of people misunderstand this one. We want to have it be so that if you put 2 of them, you get this. So if you put one form field, you're not going to get both of these. You're going to get one of these. Okay? So, and you can basically copy half of this HTML because this is the HTML for 2 of them. So I'm just going to copy the HTML for 1 of them, and I'm going to make a component out of it. Form field.js. What? Oh, this. Okay. That's pretty much what we want it to look like, but we want to make it dynamic, so I don't want to have these hard-coded values in, but I'm just going to render it on the page real quick to see what it looks like, and then we'll get to doing all the making it dynamic. So here, import form field from there. Okay, let's take a look. I have an error. What? What's going on? This says what? Let's see what happened there. Oh. Well, just so you know, if you put a capital R on React, you get this error. I have no idea. Well, I guess that makes sense, sort of, because it's saying it's trying to find this package, which is a lowercase React package, and I had it like this, import it from uppercase React package, so I had a mismatch there. There we go. Okay, form field. Oh, beautiful. It looks, well, it's a little bit wider than I want it. I'll put a style on it to make it less wide. Let's say this thing, style equals width 500 pixels. Okay, that's better. Actually, I want to do more stuff because I hate to see it so close up top like that. So I'm going to take off this style thing and I'm just going to add some class, another class name. By the way, let's change all these classes to class name. And I'm going to field, I'll put a second class on it, call it, I don't know, form field. Yeah, that's fine. That's better if you need dynamic styles. So when we get to the cool button thing, we can do maybe something like that. Well, actually, no, we're not going to do that with. But we can add another component where I show you where that's good because there's no point in doing that for this because the form fields all look the same. That's better for when because then you can have like props and you can have the styles object be defined with like your props, and so then you can have you can have a component that you pass in the props of like the width and the height and the border and the color, and then it just does it. So we can do that after the button. But I don't want to do that for this one because this one is I just want to add it to all of them. So form field. By the way, if you importing app.css and app.js makes you have it in all the components. This isn't like in Angular you only get the CSS of your component CSS file, but in React it's like it's everywhere. So they all get all the CSS. So all the normal rules for CSS apply. App.css, and here we'll say, we can get rid of all this stuff. Form field. I'm just going to have some margin, like, I don't know, 25 pixels, and width 500 pixels. Okay, that's better. So then what I need to do is get it so that this doesn't just say name, because what I want to do is this here. I want to put two form fields like that, and I want them to look different. I don't want it to say name and e.g. Alex Smith. I want it to be like this. One says name, one says email. So I want, first of all, where does it say name? It says name right here. So I'm going to replace that with this.props.something. I don't know what that something is going to be yet. I have to pass it in. So I should probably call it what? Name. I'm not going to call it name because that's the same as I'm using the word name everywhere. I'm going to call it the name just so you can see how it gets there. So here, pretty simple. I just go the name equals name. And here, actually wait, it shouldn't be called the name. Let's call it, yeah, label. The label. This stuff, the label equals name, and here the label equals email. There, name, email. Now in here, I want this one to say e.g. Alex Smith, and I want this one to say e.g. whatever, alexsmith@gmail.com or something like that. So here, I'm not going to call it placeholder because that's a little confusing. I'm going to make some really long prop name that's very super explicit. I'm going to say the text for the placeholder equals e.g. Alex Smith. And for this one, the text for the placeholder equals e.g. asmith@gmail.com. And then to see that, the placeholder here, instead of being e.g. Alex Smith, it's going to be this dot props dot. I'm just going to copy that. The text for the placeholder. All right, let's take a look. And there we go. E.g. Alex Smith, e.g. asmith@gmail.com. And then finally, we can't really see it when we look at the page, but if you inspect the page, you can see that this one is typed text, and this one is also typed text, but I want this one to be typed email instead of typed text. We're not going to notice any difference because we're not actually using the form, but if you submitted the form and you didn't put a @gmail.com in there, it would be like, it needs an email thing, whatever. That's the purpose of the type equals email. So this thing type is not going to be text. It's going to be this dot props dot what type. And over here, I'll pass in another thing called what type, and this one is text. And this one is email. And now, one should be typed. That one's, wait, is it? I don't know if that worked. That did not work. Why? Is that not a type? Let me look in my React Dev Tools. If I look at this form field, it says these are my props. This is finally probably the first time we have a good reason to use the React Dev Tools. The reason it's better than this is because I can't see my props in this. So if you look at the React Dev Tools, and you get to see this thing has these props: name, placeholder, what type. Well, did I misspell something? No. Oh, there it worked. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I needed to restart the server or something. Anyway, there it is. That's iteration 2. So you just need to pass those 3 props. And in this example, we are hard coding all the props. The props are all just straight up hard coded strings, which is really not usually going to be the case once you're like making your project or whatever. But sometimes it is. So and when it is, that's the easiest prop type situation. So anyway, let's go to the cool button. And where should we put the cool button? Does it say where we should put the cool button? No. Whatever. I'm just going to put it down here. Cool button. And we want 2 of them, actually. So let's put 2 of them right away. All right, there they are. Those are our cool buttons. Let's make them better. So, first of all, what we want to do is, first of all, we want to have a button. And then these classes here are special bulma classes. They all, in order to have a button look like a button, you got to have the button class. So they're all going to have the button class. That's going to be that's not going to be dynamic. That's going to be like statically hard-coded into all of them. I want all my buttons to have the button class. But I want some of them to have button class and also is rounded class and also is danger. And I want another one to have the button class but also the is small class and also the is success class, like that. So let's just take a look at that real quick so we can see how those classes work. Button. This is cool button. If I put in here class name equals button, it looks like this, like that. Then if I put class name equals button and also is danger, then they're both red. If I put is success, they're both green. It doesn't work without the button class, though. If I just do is success and that's it, they don't work. So you need the button class on all of them. But then I want one of them to have the is danger class, and I want one of them to have the is success class. So I'm going to leave that class button here. I'm also going to add my own class because I hate seeing them all squished together like that. Actually, I'm just going to add a style. Style margin 20 pixels. Okay, that's better. Anxiety relief. Okay, so let's get our classes to be dynamic. So they're showing us how they want us to pass in the props. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass in these props like this. I'm going to say is small. I'm going to have one be is small is danger, and I'm going to have one is rounded and is success. That's what I want. Is small is danger, is rounded is success. So here, is small is danger, and then this one is is rounded is success. Okay. So if I look at that, nothing's going to happen, obviously, because I'm not using those props. But if I open the DevTools, I can see my cool button component. And if you just pass in a prop and you don't say equals, that's like doing this. It's the same as doing this. Is small equals true. Is danger equals true. That's the same thing. If you just put the prop name, it's the same as saying equals true. So these two lines do the same thing. Okay, so we got in each cool button component, we got props is danger and is small, and in this one we got props is rounded and is success. So I'm going to show you probably the most simple way to do this if you know you only have 4. Right now we have is small, is rounded, is danger, and is success. Those are the 4 possibilities that we have to account for. So in here, what I'm going to do is, let's see, where should I put it? Should I put it in the render function? Why not? I'll put it in the render function. In the render function, I'm going to say, so this is why people, if you didn't like JSX at first, why people usually come to like it. Because you can just straight up start putting const this equals that, let this equals this, and do a map function and do whatever you want inside the render function. So I'm going to say, if you're trying to figure out how can I get those props into this string right here, what I'm going to do is this. Let classes equal this. I'm going to take away, well, I'll just wait. Let classes equal that string. Then I'm going to go if this dot props dot is small, classes plus equals is small, And you can also, yeah, I'll just leave it like that. I'll do that, and I'll just do that 4 times. If we have more than 4, then you probably want to figure out a slicker way to do this, probably with an object. Object is usually the way to go with that. But let's do it this way first so you can see this. So if it equals small, we're going to add that. If there's is rounded, we're going to add is rounded. If it's is danger, we're going to add is danger. And if it's is success, we're going to add is success. And then here for class name, instead of a string, we're going to give it a variable, and that variable is classes. So classes is going to be equal to a string, and it's definitely going to have button in it. And then it might have a space and then is small, and it might have a space and then is rounded, and it might have a space and then is danger, depending on what the props are. And there it is. How could we do it with, with an object? They have this example down here that's kind of tantalizing. We could use this. Let's see how we could use that. Let key equal this. Okay. Or let's not call it that. Let's call it legend. Let legend equal this. And then I guess we loop through this thing in its, or we do object dot keys, and we loop through all these keys, and we just do this exact same thing, but with each key and each value. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you. We'll do it. I'll leave that there so you can see that's the simple version. This is a simpler version. That's totally fine if you don't have that many possibilities for classes being passed in. If you have a lot of classes, though, use the thing below. So we got this the whole object. We'll say, okay, let classes equal button. We're going to do that again. And then we're going to go object.keys, parentheses, legend, dot for each. So who remembers what this thing does? Remember? This gives us an array of all the keys. Here, if I go console log each key, if I console log each key, we're going to get each of these things. Let's take a look. See, we get each of the keys. So it basically takes all the keys in that object and it turns them in, puts them into an array together. So then how do you get the values? It's pretty easy. If we console log each key, we can also console log legend bracket each key, and then we get the value associated with that key. So here, now it's like, that's the key, that's the value. That's the key, that's the value. So what we can do is copy this little thing that we had there and basically do the same thing. We can say if this dot props bracket each key, classes plus equals a space plus what is it? Legend bracket each key. I think that'll do it. There it is. We have our colors back. And now we can do this. We can use any of these. So I don't know what is dark does, but let's check it out. Let's find out. Here, is rounded, is success, is dark. And this one is outlined. Let's see. That's cool. This one's outlined. I don't know what is dark. Is dark doesn't seem to be doing anything. Let's take away is success and see if that's the thing is. Yeah, there it is. That's why. The is dark makes it is the color thing. You can do what's is right. I wonder what that is. Is right. I don't know. Doesn't seem to do anything to me. Let's find one more. Is selected maybe? Is selected. Does that do something? I don't see. That's disappointing. Not all of those are as cool as I was hoping they'd be. But the is dark thing works. And let's do is large on this one. No, that one's is small. We'll do is large. Okay. Now it's extra big. Okay, see? So anyway, you get all those classes. You just type in that thing, and then you got all those. Realistically, we could have... Or whatever. This is a good way. It's a good example to use for, this will work for anything. So if you use this version right here, there's no limit as long as you make a really big object right here and put all the possibilities. This will work for anything, and it's a reasonably efficient way of doing it. So I guess that's the whole app. So we're gonna start.